How's the process been? Closing some 401ks?
Yeah, it's going fine.
Let's
Um,
go.
it's going fine. I keep doing the process. I'm getting better at it. Um, I've the question path that I created is it's going pretty smoothly there for the 401ks. They're not really getting me the account and objection until where I want it, which is at the end,
Cool.
right? My question is, can you kind of help me make like an objection loop where I can get past that account objection today? Because I lost like five
Can
deals
you
today,
pitch
man.
me?
Today.
Can you pitch me? Like go through the pitch and then tell me where they're saying the account objection. But give me like the a little bit before that.
Yeah, of course. Let me pull it up here. Hey, Cayden, can you hear me?
Yeah, we don't have to start at the very beginning. I mean, we
All
can if
right,
you want to,
yeah,
but
yeah, we can just go straight to it. I mean, which part do you want? Like the actual pitch itself?
just give me like 2 minutes before they give you the objection.
Let me pull it up here.
For context, everybody else,
Yeah.
Steve works for a payroll company, and he's calling the people that are already in the payroll service, upselling them a 401k plan, the companies.
All right, man. So I'll go from this part. Yeah. So all this does, it gives you a place to move that money you mentioned. So instead of just sitting there getting hit the same way, it's actually working for you while you still stay in control of it. Now, there's no requirement to match the employees. Most owners your size start out at 0% match. And because of your size, the IRS gives up to a $5,000 credit, which usually offsets most, if not all, the costs to set it up. Now, we handle all the paperwork for both setting it up and for the reimbursement. So nothing really changes operation on your end. So from there, you decide how much you want to put into it. Does all of that make sense?
Yep.
So for a business your size, it's actually very straightforward. The base is 280 a month and then $5 per participant. Since most likely we're just starting with you, it's 285 per month. And because of the $5,000 credit, that typically offsets most, if not all, of the cost. And we handle everything so the credit it would be applied for you at tax time. Right.
Okay.
Now, based on what you told me earlier, man, that you guys currently don't have anything in place as long as a structure, it's like how you keep more of your money. This is usually something owners get in place once they see it. Would you want to get your plan started on May 1st or would June 1st feel more comfortable?
And this is where they tell you they want to talk to the accountant.
No, it's like kind of after that
Okay.
pitch. Yeah.
Oh, did they say it before this?
No, it's so like I say my pitch and then I'm like, yeah, like this makes sense. Like, but I want to talk to my accountant about it.
Show
So
show
for
me where they say that though. I need to understand where they're saying it.
so like after I say my pitch and then I'm like, yeah, it's like $50 a month, 280 a month, and they're like, yeah, yeah, this makes sense, Steve, and we understand that it's covered by the credit, but I still want to talk to my accountant about it because I've noticed on the calls today because I walked this lady
Okay, so
through
what
like a
if
really good process and she was like,
what
it's
I
more of
would
a
tr
certainty thing.
yeah, what I would
Yeah.
try is I would try this after I drop the price, and if it doesn't work, then I would do it before.
Okay.
Is I would drop the Okay, so for like a business your size, we'd be looking at like a base of 280 a month now. Before we do anything, a couple of common questions that we typically get. Number one, why is the IRS doing this? Why is it reimbursed? And do you have a good answer to that, Steve?
Yeah. It's incentivized more small business owners to set up retirement um, because they're expecting Social Security end in 2030.
Okay. Yeah. So why would the IRS do this? Because obviously Social Security is not going great. I'm sure you've seen that. And so they're trying to incentivize people to set up retirement accounts for their businesses and their employees because Social Security is on pace to be gone by 2030. Now, another common question we get is, should I talk to my accountant before I do anything like this? And most business owners look at it and it's like it doesn't really make much sense to talk to the accountant beforehand because it's kind of a no-brainer when it's going to be reimbursed. And so most business owners just set it up and then they talk to the accountant afterwards. to kind of figure out if they want to match and if they, if they're going to match at what percentage. But most business owners just set it up as kind of a backstop, as a
Mm,
backstop. Because even if they don't end up using it, like, even if they talk to their accountant, their accountant says, "Hey, we're not going to put any money into this right now." Well, then it's already set up. You're not paying for it, and if November comes around, you need somewhere to put money into it. It's
yeah.
already set up. You don't have to worry about it. Now, aside from those two common questions, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, no, not really. I just wanted to, I just wanted a bit more certainty that like that those credits would actually cover it. If it does, yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah, those credits cover it, and we file it all for you, and so they for sure cover it. And so, I mean, if you, I'll send you the paperwork on that stuff here as well once we're all done. But yeah, they're for sure going to cover it. And so, really, the next step, when would you want the plan to start? Would you want it to start on this date or this date?
Yeah, we could do it on date one on May
Cool.
1st.
Are there any other common questions that you get, Steve, or any common questions that would come up that would we should answer right there? Because we could give them we could do a third one.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. For a lot of them, it's not really an accountant objection. It's just like you said, it's more certainty. Yeah, they don't want to make a mistake, so it's fear.
Yep.
So it's exactly that explanation. They don't understand like how the credit works. So I feel like if I pre-frame that somewhere in the script, like you did it there, that's going to help out a lot with that, and that's going to raise the certainty.
Yeah, you could add like a third one that's like the third most common question that we get is am I locked into anything with this? Like
Oh
am I
yeah,
locked
that's a
in?
big one. That's a big one.
And so you could do first common question we get is how is this even possible? Second common question we get, do I need to talk to my accountant? Third common question that we get, which will kind of shadow the accountant one then, is that question.
Smart man. Thanks. Um, Bro, is it cool if I share my screen real quick just to kind of show my script here? I
Yeah.
just wanted to show you something here. Kind of get your feedback on it. But dude, that's so far. I'll definitely be doing that from now on.
Yeah, let me
Um,
know how it goes. It should help a lot because the big thing is like they don't know what questions to ask, and so you're able to give them the certainty by being
yeah.
like, here are the questions you should be asking, and they're like, oh, and then naturally it's going to build certainty in their mind.
Yeah, so I was really studying the decision tree in the insurance course that
Yep.
you made here. Now this part is going pretty smoothly, right? So the frame, we diffuse them. No worries, I'm not even sure we can help because that doesn't make sense for everyone. Like it's going pretty smoothly up to this point here. I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about these logical questions here? Because like the goal is to make a gap that they understand that they don't really have anything in their business.
How do they usually answer it?
Oh, yeah, we don't really have anything. I didn't notice. So I'm like, so like when money's left over, does it usually stay in the business or just kind of go somewhere else? Oh yeah, we usually it usually stays in the business or we keep it there. Got it. And like how long has it been like that? Yeah, ever since we started. And like no one's really shown you a better way to structure that. No, not really. No, not really. Or typically like my account helps that, but no one's really brought me anything. Every single time it does that for me.
Hmm.
Um, because
Do
I
you
was
feel
trying
like
to
it's
like,
helping?
yeah, I feel like it's helping because like a lot of these people they don't even their account rarely even talks to them or shows them anything. So when I was like really thinking about this a couple of days ago, I'm like, how can I build a gap where they understand they don't really have anything?
You could
And this
change
is a
that first question to build a bigger gap, though. When money's left over, does it usually just stay in like just stay in the business? So downplay it. Does it usually just stay in the business, or are you putting it somewhere else where it will benefit you a bit more?
yeah, it's like when money's left over, does it usually stay in the business or go somewhere else?
When money's left over, does it usually just stay in the business or go somewhere else where it benefits you a little bit more in terms of lowering taxes or
Uh,
something of that nature?
yeah, I mean, it typically stays in the business for us, and I mean, we don't really do much for it,
Mm.
and we use it for like
How,
reinvesting
and
and
you guys have
stuff
just
like
been doing
that.
it that way the whole time, or
Yeah, we've done it that way for the past 3 years.
what's held you back from like doing it a different way? Has just nobody shown you to like how to structure like a better way
Uh,
to structure that?
no, not really. I mean, typically, I don't, no one really brings me anything, and my accountant, they mainly help me with the taxes at the end of the year, but no
Yeah.
one's really shown me. It goes like that every single time.
Well,
Like no
that's
one's
why
really
I'm
shown me.
calling is because we do
Yeah.
see that all the time, especially with businesses at the point that you're at.
Yeah.
And this is usually where it starts becoming a problem because it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just like nobody's showing you how to do it just yet. And so it's not your fault, but that doesn't mean it's not your problem. And then, over time that ends up adding up more than, people expect. And the part most owners don't realize is that it's not just the part that most owners don't really realize is when that happens, it's not just the business that's losing money, it's you personally. Because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, and I'm sure you already know this, um, it's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep.
Yeah, you're right.
I would probably use that because dude, every business owner knows that line. It's not just
Hmm.
about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep.
Dude, that's fire. I'm gonna steal that. Um, yeah, so like I'm like this like up to this point it's going very well. I've been kind of skipping this part because I'm still testing it.
Yeah.
Because there needs to be like at least a little bit of emotion, right? For like why they would want to move forward. And from some role plays that I've tried, I'm typically getting these two responses, right? So they're like, yeah, this sucks. I typically get more of a type A if I use more of that concern tone and I'm like slowed down with
Yeah.
it. So like, yeah, that sucks, or that kind of sucks. Never thought about it. That it gives me some emotion because I have to create a problem, right? Um, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, so if nothing changes and this continues sitting there for the next 2 to 3 years, like, what do you feel that ends up costing you personally?
I feel like that one's hard because they don't know what they're losing out on.
That's true.
And so I would almost make it more positive. I mean, if there was a way that you could reduce your tax burden and keep, like, I mean, what percentage do you think they're able to keep a little bit more of? You want it to be real.
We could say maybe 20, 30%. I don't even know.
I mean, if there was a way that you could reduce your tax burden by, 10, 20% each year, and how much do you think that would benefit you?
Yeah, greatly, man. We'd be able to like reinvest into the business because I like until you talked to me today, I had no idea we didn't really have anything.
You could even say, I mean, if there was a way that you could, reduce your tax burden by 10, 20%, is that something that you feel like would be beneficial?
Yeah, yeah, I'd feel it'd be beneficial.
How come though? That might be a little bit much.
Yeah. But out of curiosity, Cayden, like, how do you feel about like the questions so far and like the emotional story thing that I created here?
I think it
Is it like,
depends on the prospect you're talking about. For some of them, it's going to be too much.
yeah,
But I think
is
if
it?
you
Yeah.
changed it a little bit, where it was like, um, here, scroll back up to the emotional certainty. Yeah, and that's usually where it kind of becomes a problem. And it's not necessarily like that you're doing anything wrong, to be clear. It's just one of those things that are like, if nobody is showing you a better way to do it, then, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, but you know what? It's just one of those things that stacks up over time. And the part that a lot of business owners don't realize, at least newer business owners, is it's not just the business losing money, it's you personally. Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily always about how much money you make, it's about how much you actually keep.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've heard that saying before.
Yeah, I've heard it before. It's something I've heard from like friends and people that I worked with before in the past.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if there was a way that you could, reduce your tax burden by, 10, 20%, I mean, is that something that you would be beneficial for you in the business?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would.
Okay. Yeah. And then you move on.
Yeah, cool. And then what I do after that, I'll add in the changes like you said here. I do like it's just like even necessary where I'm like, yeah, and let me go here to this part. Yeah, and the part that really, yeah, and that's the part that really surprises people. I guess, like, would you be opposed to looking at a way to redirect that if it actually made sense for you?
No, we basically just did that. If I was going to do anything after that, it would probably be identity, where it's like, I mean, if there was a way that you could do that, is that something that would be helpful? Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Um,
can appreciate you seem like the kind of guy who really gets ahead of this stuff. Because I talk to so many owners every day who say that they want to, uh, keep more money, get a better structure, but they never do it. Have you always been that way, or kind of where does that come from?
I'd probably just do something subtler.
Yeah, it's too
Uh,
obvious.
yeah, like smart man. I know it seems obvious, but you would be shocked at how many people overlook taxes and, like they make good money, but they don't, they just kind of had their head stuck in the sand and then they end up paying way more in taxes than they need to. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that in business.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that before. I just for me, man, it's just like I've never really known, right? Because I didn't really realize we don't really have like a structure until you called us today.
Well, and
And
that's the thing, man, is like a lot of business owners, especially new business owners, they get so they get stuck in this rabbit hole of like they only do what their accountant says. And what they don't realize is like your accountant isn't the one that typically helps you with that kind of stuff. Because your accountant, what do? They typically are just helping you at the end of the year. They're not actually helping you get ahead of things. And so it and it's like with experienced business owners, they know that it's like, yes, the accountant is going to help with that kind of stuff, but they're not necessarily going to lead the way, right? And so it makes sense. And then like dive into your thing.
then from there, just go straight into the pitch. Yeah, so all it does is it just gives you a place to move that money you mentioned. I had one more question here for you, Cayden. It's like some of our top guys, like what they typically do to like increase trust with clients. They're like, and later on, if someone uh, like Brent Saver wanted to contribute, you can decide to match it or not. To kind of increase trust. Like they look at their payroll and they're like, hey, I'm going to see like random
Yeah, I
people
like
here on the
that.
payroll.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
And right
awesome.
there, it's like you can decide to match it or not. Like a very common question that we get is, am I locked into anything? Like, do I have to set it all up perfectly today?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, right? That's the best part about this is like it's flexible. That's really the advantage to it is, and that's why you're able to save more on taxes is because it is flexible. And so if it doesn't make a lot of sense, you don't have to take advantage of it.
Okay.
But if it does make sense, then you can take advantage of it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, because like the main objections that we're trying to prevent here are, hey, do I need to match the employees? Is this going to be like a lot of work for me? Is it going to be expensive? Right. Those are the
Yeah.
main three that we got from business owners. And if I'm
And we just got ahead of all of them.
yeah, like this just cuts all of them out. Um, and then after the only objection they the only on this offer, the only objection they really give me is that accountant objection.
I
Right.
wonder if you restructure it the way I just went over,
Yeah.
if that would get at like because that's probably the best pre-frame for the account that we've come across the way what I just did.
Yeah.
And so I'll get you like this recording will get uploaded and I'll get it to you. And then go grab like the transcript and watch the recording and then try and rework it a
Awesome.
little bit.
Thanks, Kaden. I'll work on it right now and I appreciate the help, man.
Yeah, happy to help, brother. Keep
Yeah.
crushing it. All right. Oh, we got people in the waiting room. Whoops. How else can I help everybody? Who else has questions, comments? You guys just want to talk about
I
9/11.
have a I have a question, if you don't mind.
Okay, cool.
You have this very, how to say, like you sound like you know what you're doing, but you sound too cool, too detached. How you do that? I mean, you've been always like this, or you just, trained, or somehow you have some secret to be like really chill when you speak. So they really feel like you are not attached to outcome. That's so
No, I'm just
obvious.
practiced. And so I think for me, what it is it all starts with perspective, right? Like everything is just about frame. We've all heard about frames before. I would fucking hope so if you're here. And so it's just the frame that I'm looking through. And by frame, all I mean is it's the lens that I'm looking through. So instead of looking at through and this is one of the most helpful things that jumped my sales career by so much. And I wish I would have learned it sooner because the
Mm.
first few years of my sales career, I was like everybody would talk about being detached, but I didn't really understand it. And part of it was because I needed money more then. Right. And so like I get that. That's an aspect that comes into it. However, I started to realize that it's not just about that, it's about the perspective that you're looking through. And so the perspective that I was unintentionally approaching most conversations with was I need to show this person how what I do will help them. Like and what that led to is me almost convincing people. And the perspective shift that I now look at it through is all my job is I'm a problem solver. I am just a problem solver. And so I'm just listening to the problems that people have, or I'm seeing the problems that they don't know they have because I have a better, like I might have more experience, I might have a better perspective. And then I'm
Mm.
helping them solve those problems. So like for example, like Steve, for example, Steve and I did one-on-one coaching for a little bit. And when Steve first came to me, he's like, this is all I need. And I was like, no, brother, that's not all of what you need. What you're not realizing is yes, that's part of what you need, but the bigger thing that we need to do is we need to create a different environment. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, we need to create a different environment for the calls where instead of trying to convince them to do this, you're approaching it like, hey, I was looking at your account and I'm seeing an issue. Like I'm a doctor. Like they went to
Mhm.
get blood work and upon reviewing the blood work, it's like, oh shit, I need to call this person. There's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned this. I also had this like I need to appear competent and I need to appear that I'm eager to help. And this is exactly what I'm now, completely
Yeah.
deconstructing about my approach. So I'm somewhere in the middle now. Sometimes I forget this.
Yeah, it's like I'm just a problem solver. And at the end of the day, the thing is that there's multiple ways to solve a problem. And that's how I come across detached is because it's like you have this problem, there's multiple ways to solve it. Here's what I would recommend. And here's why I'd recommend it over other option. Do you see why option A makes more sense? Yes. Okay, here's the next steps. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve. One last question.
Um, yeah, Cayden, so I had one more quick question here. So like last week I learned how to get into state very easily, right? Like I trained it, I watched the videos and all that, but sometimes I find it hard to get back into it. Like how do you consistently stay in state all the time, I guess?
You can train yourself to have some sort of trigger, but it's going to take time. Ultimately, what the easiest thing is going to be to do is have some sort of almost like an affirmation statement. I know it sounds cheesy and you probably won't need it as much in the long run, but some sort of affirmation statement that just reminds you what you're focusing on.
Hmm.
Anything that you bring into awareness is then going to help you,
Okay.
right? Or not hurt you. And what I mean by that is like if I get onto a call, let's say, and I start the sales call by saying like, what's going on, Ocean? Excited to have this conversation today. I'm going to be using some advanced sales tactics and advanced linguistic patterns and NLP patterns and some covert hypnosis to help you get out of your own way. What were you looking for help with? Now he's going to be way more resistant because I brought awareness to things that should be happening in the background.
Yeah.
And so how do I take that same thing and make it to my advantage? Obviously, I'm not going to do that on a sales call. I'm just giving you guys a dramatic example. But if there's something that's holding me back, if I bring it into awareness, it's then much harder for it to hold me back.
Hmm.
So if I have some sort of limiting belief, if I bring that into awareness, it's
Yes.
hard for it to hold me back. So if you find
Okay.
yourself falling out of state, you're probably falling out of state because of some sort of limiting belief. Like I am not necessarily helping people, I'm convincing people. I'm just right or something like that, some sort of limiting belief.
Hmm.
If I just bring that limiting belief to the surface, I'm going to see how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Everybody picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, that helped out a lot, man. Because like once I learned how to get into state like at will, like I was doing like the trigger I used was like my finger and my I know for like everyone on
Finger
the
in your
call
ass.
this sounds yeah, my finger up my ass. No, I'm joking. No, my middle finger and my fucking thumb. But like I noticed like all of my abilities were just like cracked, right? Like I was using advanced finality very easily. People barely resisted me on the calls. It's like insane. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And back to what you
Remember
said,
when
state.
remember when we first started training and I said something about environment and you were like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, yeah. And I get it now. Now I'm using it on every single call because I'm thinking, hey, like, how do I form this environment where it advantages me the best? Right.
Yep, 100%,
That's that's
100%.
crazy.
Change the
Yeah.
environment, change the context. And if you change the context, you change the reaction.
Yeah, it's insane. That's insane. Well, I'll keep working on it, man, and I'll keep posted how I'm doing. Thank you, man, for real.
Awesome. Yeah, keep it up, bro. Go ahead, Mario.
Yeah, so Cayden, I had a question on like going through, one of Matt's podcasts, he talks about like the lowest hanging fruit, and I've heard that tons of times. And
Yep.
I don't think I do like such a terrible job at tonality or objection
Probably not.
handling. I do that pretty well, but I have like zero structure because the implementation of any PQ into timeshare, which is what I do, is extremely difficult with all of the boxes I have to tick with everything I'm supposed to say during the presentation at my job, right? So the
Okay.
company has like a script, and then I've implemented slowly but surely neutral language, pausing, like all of the tonality techniques from NEPQ. I've got that underneath my belt. And so, like, with the call I had with Jeff, he's like, "You have no structure, bro." Like, he tried to role play me, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, like, where do I even start? I don't have like, I have a sales process and I know what I'm doing.
Do you record your calls?
I do, but I don't. I'm new to this whole AI stuff, so I don't have like Whisper Flow or like turn that into like OpenClaw and like all this stuff. Like
Well, I'm
I'm
just asking, like, if you record them, an easy way to, because are you doing pretty well?
Yes,
Okay, so I about guarantee you have a structure of some sort.
yeah, but
Because
but
if
it's not NAPQ, and I want it to be. So like that's my
yeah,
issue.
well, we got to figure out where we're starting from though.
Yeah,
Because when you're selling timeshare, base standard NEPQ probably isn't going to help you a ton. Like understanding where that framework comes from is really important, right? And where NEPQ as a base structure is the way it's marketed was developed was in high ticket, right? People were literally going through a 10-step marketing funnel for the first iteration of NEPQ, which
mhm,
at that time it was not called NEPQ. And so the structure isn't necessarily always going to sound the same. However, I bet you have a structure. What I would do if I was in your shoes to figure out what my starting point is I would take a bunch of recorded calls, put the transcript into AI. You could use Claude, ChatGPT, it doesn't really matter, and just have it give you your current structure.
yeah, because my calls are face to face, so I
Yep.
only have them in audio on my phone. So I'm gonna need like something like Whisper Flow to turn that into text now.
Yep.
Because I don't know how to do any of that, so I'm like still trying to like figure it out, like how I would do that. And
Well,
my
if they're recorded, yeah, you could use Whisper Flow, or you could just, if you want it, you could just literally take the recording and put a Loom recorder up and like Loom over the recording, and then you would have a transcript.
Okay. I don't know how to do that, but I'll research it.
If you
We'll
just
be recording.
look up loom.com, it's a screen sharing. Jeff, do
Okay.
you have something to add to this? Because it sounds like you guys have worked together. I'm going to take that as a no.
My structure is mainly like objection prevention. Like all of my common objections, just like you pre-frame that, I pre-frame a shit ton of objections that I know I'm gonna get like towards the end. And I work my whole script is just like, let's prevent this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then at the end, I'm like, what else do you got? And then I'll go
What
into
I
like
would
objection
recommend
killing.
is look for the similarities in what you're already doing with the structure that you're looking to get to, rather than looking for the differences. I mean, why do you want to use like an EPQ structure?
To me, it makes sense to have like a sales process, right? And so finding like,
Sounds like you already have a
solution
little bit of
problem,
one though.
a little bit. But I worked that in, and it's like it's a chaotic mess because like I'll do discovery, find out
Mhm.
how they travel, and then I will.
That's your situation phase.
Yeah, exactly. And then as I, because there's no connection, like they are basically like lied to. They don't even know what they're getting themselves into. They're like, hey, you want a free massage? Come to this breakfast thing. And so
Yep.
there's zero awareness, right?
Yep.
So there's no connection. Like, hey, what sparked your interest into wanting to have this conversation with me? Like nothing to do with that, right?
Yeah.
And then
Then don't do that.
exactly, right? So like they don't even know what it's about. I'm just like, hey, like what we do is pretty simple. It's just kind of like seeing what you're using for vacations now versus like what's available to see if like we can help. You may not even need it. You might be fine doing like things the way you've been doing them so far, blah blah blah, yada yada. And then I go
Yep.
into discovery, and then the company asked me to then pitch like the product, the membership, but I don't. I'm like, hey, I start with some like problem awareness. I'm like, hey, do you know you've been paying more than you really had to, and like you're maybe not getting as much value for like the money you're spending already on vacations, or like,
I
hey,
like
you
it.
could be getting more benefits. So I've been using a lot of like problem awareness questions,
I love
and
that.
based on my avatars. So it's like, hey,
Yep.
if they like nice things, I'm gonna be like, hey, you're not getting like the best possible quality vacations you could be.
I'm super confused. It sounds like you're doing NEPQ, bro.
Well, yeah, at that point. And then like once I go into problem, then I'm like if you could be getting like the best vacations ever in the world, what if anything would like stop you from like doing it a better way, like if you could. And then I'm like trying to offer some solutions, but it's not like a specific script. I kind of like wing it based on the avatar I have, like the problem specific bucket I'm going to dump these guys into. And then based off that, then I'm like, okay, really what we do is, and then I pitch, but then I have to go do like a rooms tour and all of this. And then I don't really start um, consequence until I get back. And I'm like, what's going to happen like if you do nothing and then like you're overpaying and ultimately you're like, you're just throwing away all of your hard-earned money down the drain by paying, higher rates than you really had to. And then like that's where I go into, but it's not like
That's not a
like a
problem.
fluid.
It doesn't all need to be fluid. It depends on the sales process,
Okay.
right? Like the fluidity is going to depend on what you're selling. One of the things that will probably help you the most, because they're not going to know what questions to ask, is telling them what questions to ask, just like I just did with Steve. And so like
Okay.
a common question here is this.
And
And
you
then
don't feel
you
that's going to
answer.
be you don't feel that's going to be like maybe like working against me in a way that like I'm creating um certain objections that hadn't come up that I'm maybe causing? Because
Well,
one is like I
it's
don't
a
want
way
to.
to like get ahead of some objections. So like if you
Okay.
have common questions, like they're going to ask it, just put that in. So like a common question that we get here is this.
Yeah, because here the company tells me like, hey, don't pitch, they can cancel. Because like once they've signed, they're like, oh well, I already did it, I might as well. But that's like one of the most common objections we always get is like, I don't
No,
want to
yeah,
tie myself into
I wouldn't do
anything.
that. I wouldn't talk about that, but it's like do ones that benefit you. And another thing that probably would help you just based on what you're explaining to me is, do you have parts in your script where like you do education and you say something like, does that make sense? Or right.
Absolutely. The entire way through.
So
I'm like, hey, do you know what?
instead of
Yeah.
does that make sense, you could do something like, do you see how that changes XYZ? Do you see how that would save you money in both the short term and the
Okay.
long run?
Okay. Yeah,
And
because I'm
how
not
and
doing
I'm
that.
controlling the answer better.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Well, and then like if I wanted to implement like more scripted specific questions,
Yeah.
and like incorporate NEPQ wherever it lands in my sales process. Um, Jeff said kind of like do like a summary of like the stages because I never really went through NEPQ. Like I knew about it,
You
but
already
I never
basically
went through
have
it.
them though. You're already doing them where it's like situation. What are you like? How are you guys doing vacations now? Cool. Problem awareness. Uh, like, were you aware that you're probably spending more money? Blah 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 blah. You're already doing that. Cool. If there was a way that you could have better vacations for the same cost that you're paying now, or keep taking vacations that are the same but save money on it, is that something
Mhm,
that would you guys would see as benefit? I mean, what do you want those vacations to look like? Boom, you're already doing all of that.
mhm.
Cool. And then it sounds like from there you're doing a bit of education, right? So you do some education, and then I'm guessing after the education, you're doing a bit of future pacing, where
Future
it's like,
future pacing, not so much. We don't do that until the very end where we're supposed to do like a financial projection.
okay,
Or it's just
so
like, say you
but
do nothing like,
you're doing some education, and
uh-huh.
then you're doing consequence after that, it sounds like, and then more
Yes.
education,
Yeah.
and then you're giving price and
Yep.
closing. Cool.
Yeah.
You're doing NEPQ, bro. What are we talking about?
Okay. So like
You just need to clean it up.
exactly.
You're
Like
just
how
doing a
do I,
messy version.
because my version is in my head and I'm winging it. I'm a winger, right? And so like what would you recommend for me to like actually like
What I
write out
told you
a
the first
script?
time. The first step is awareness. And so
So like
you have some awareness, but you don't have full awareness. How would I get that awareness? I would take
the recordings.
the recordings, get transcripts, put it in the ChatGPT so it laid out a better structure for me, and then just
Alrighty.
listen to those recordings. If you listen to the
Alrighty.
recordings, like as they say, hindsight is 2020,
Hmm.
right? And I mean, do you see
Yeah.
how if you started listening to more of your recordings that it would probably change your perspective?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, why did I say that there? Like it went nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then
Awesome.
you would naturally end up cleaning it up.
Okay.
If you just start listening to your recordings, bro, it's probably going to be blatantly obvious to you.
And the last question. I'm looking into transferring to remote sales. I'm not sure if you remembered. I talked to you about that. Like eventually,
Yeah.
like picking up like a part-time gig, doing a side hustle, and then like getting my feet wet with high ticket before I transferred over. Um, what are like the basic? Like I heard somebody's like buy a mic, buy a 5M7B USB mic or something like that. Like
Bro,
what
I've
are
seen
the
people sell with fucking Apple plug-in headphones.
okay, so like what are the things that I would maybe need to get my feet wet with before I jumped into it? Like kind of like I know nothing about like CRMs or
A laptop and some swagger, baby.
I've got a laptop, right?
All right. It seems like
I
you got
got
some
swag
swagger
stuff.
too.
Like, is there anything else?
like I'm not saying those things don't help, but like in terms of the biggest things you need, that stuff,
Hmm. Yeah,
right?
because like I have an iPhone and I have a
The
laptop,
willingness
but
to learn, and be adaptable, be coachable, not
yeah,
overthink it. Coming in with confidence, but also not having an ego. That's a weird balance to have,
yeah, it is.
right?
And I'm there.
And like a mic is going to help. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but it's not something that you have to have.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But if you have money, like why not?
All right. And then like what about like a CRM? How do I navigate that or how do I even begin to learn to use that or a dialer or whatever?
I mean, whatever company hires you will hopefully teach you how to do that.
So I don't have to worry about that just quite yet.
No,
Okay, I'm good. That was my last question.
most of them are pretty retard proof, anyways.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Cayden, I hope you well, brother.
Likewise.
I wanted to ask you, mate. A lot of the boys go to your call and then come back to me. So I wanted to know, how would you define identity selling? I know that's the way you call it.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn it from yourself directly and understand what it means to
Yeah.
you.
I'll start with saying what it doesn't mean to me, that where I think a lot of people get it wrong. because
Yep.
I feel that identity is really hard to mess up. And
Mhm.
what I see a lot of is people trying to force random identities on people
Mhm.
where it doesn't make sense. And identity selling, the way I like to use it, is ultimately just in a form of understanding people.
Okay.
So if I can take their responses and use identity to bridge to my next question, it makes my
Mhm.
bridges smooth, lets them know that I understand, and it starts to build the prospect a little bit.
Okay.
And so instead of just putting random labels on people, where it's like, oh my gosh, you just seem like a freaking, like, what a good question, man. You seem like a genius to even ask that question and like come here, like that's just really smart. It's like
Mhm.
that. Okay, that's obviously kind of ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? And
Over the
so
top. Yeah.
yeah, over the top. And I think that's what a lot of people do. And so identity is just letting people know that you understand. That's all I'm doing. Is it's just like I'm in a call and they're like, like for example, if I'm selling life insurance, as
Mhm.
everybody pretty much knows that I do. And it's like, what got you looking into the insurance? And they give me a flat answer. It's like, oh, I'm just getting older. It's like, no, I get it. You sound like the kind of guy that's just like, all right, reasonable enough to recognize you're not going to live forever. Yeah, man, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Start to
So it's
box
like,
them into. Yeah. Yeah. Get you.
yeah, it's like easily agreeable, something
Mhm.
small. Where a lot of people go wrong with identity is they go over the top, like we just talked about. It's too positive.
Yeah.
The most powerful identity is the negative identity, where it's like what they're trying to avoid. And so
Yeah.
anything that is positive should be really short, really crisp. Because
Yeah.
if it's not, it's weird because people have, I mean, as you probably know, like people deflect compliments. And if we get too many compliments, we start to feel weird, like they want something from us.
Mhm.
So positive identity frames should be really short, like a sentence.
Yeah.
Where it becomes powerful and people start to really open up is when it's like you get into that negative identity or what they're avoiding.
Mhm.
And so that's like, I mean, it could be for anything. Where it's just like, man, it's refreshing to talk to somebody like you. And I just say that because I talk to a lot of people and like, I mean, you know how it is nowadays. Like people just have their head stuck in the sand, and everybody says they want the dream, but like they just don't do the work. I mean, you know what I mean. We all know somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
Yes.
yeah, blah, 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 and they start talking shit.
Yeah.
And so I call it and I don't know if I'm the one that coined this. I have no idea. To my knowledge, I am, but I'm sure I'm not the one that came up with the concept. But the identity triad. And so it's like I'm showing them that I understand the identity that they're at.
Mhm.
I'm helping confirm the identity that they're reaching for, which is the
Okay.
desired identity.
Yeah.
And I'm shining a light on the identity that they're avoiding, the
Okay.
feared identity. And so if I can shine a light on the feared identity, confirm that I understand where they're at, but show them the path to get to the desired identity, then that's what I'm really going for. And in
Yeah.
high ticket is like a cheat code for identity because if you're selling, specifically if you're selling for an influencer,
Yeah. Yeah.
because whoever the influencer is, that's the desired identity.
Mhm.
Like whatever identity traits the influencer has, that's the desired. So I already
Yeah.
know the desired. I just need to figure out, and I probably know the feared as well, which is the opposite of the desired.
Yeah.
And so all I'm doing is I'm just understanding the current.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
It does, mate. I took note of everything you said. It's not random forcing identity, stuff like that. Because when the boys come to me, a lot of them fall for the
Yeah.
shiny syndrome stuff. So every time I'm asking,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
but what does that mean? That and they're like, I don't know. Like, well, need to ask Cayden because if you don't understand, it can be trouble. But I remember your triangle, though. I remember. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to mispronounce that, but the pyramid that you used with
Yep.
the three identity. So I took note of everything you said, and makes sense. I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah. It's like just use it to understand people. If you're trying to force it, then you're doing it wrong and it's not gonna it's gonna hurt you. Just like,
Yeah,
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 I get it. You're just this kind of person.
yeah. I saw your reels too come across super genuine. Even the way you deliver the stuff with your fucking verbal pose and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is next level.
Appreciate it,
Okay,
bro.
mate. Thank you very much. You take care of yourself.
Yeah, likewise.
Bye bye.
Any final questions before we hop off for the day? Going once. Going twice. Easy. All right, everybody. Have a great
La
weekend.
Last question
Oh,
here before we
let's
go.
go.
Why
Let's
not?
go.
Why not? I guess like for you, man, how did you like, what do you feel like is the fastest way to improve? Um,
So, ooh, that's a loaded question.
it's a simple question, man.
No, it's not. That is not a simple question because it depends on what lens I'm looking at it through. Like how zoomed in I am. If we're talking big picture, like what's the fastest way to get to my goals? It's like, okay, I have my goals and I make a logistical plan to get there. At the same time, I break down, okay, I have my goals, and most of us, our goals are going to be tied to money because we're all salespeople. So we're going to be very financially motivated, right? And so, like, let's say my goal is, I don't know, 100 grand a month or whatever it is. And so I make a logistical, like,
Yeah.
money-based, database plan to get there, right? And so then I have the professional progression that I need to do to get to that goal. Now, in combination with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back and say, when I hit that goal,
Hmm.
who am I and how is my life different? Like, why is that goal important to me? How does my life change? For me, I usually like to think about the material things that are different when I hit that goal. It's like, what do I get? What this, that, plan that all out. And then I'm really visualizing how am I different once I have those things. It's like I'm visualizing like my perfect day, my perfect week, and usually writing it down. And I'm thinking about how am I different when I'm earning that amount of money.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to bake that down to what characteristics are different about me at that time. What characteristics do I need to let go of? What characteristics are new? And then I can say, okay, based on those characteristics, what habits does that version of me have that's building those characteristics?
Okay.
Right. And then from there, I have this list of habits. And now what I can do is I got this from Andy Frisella, and it's like a power
Hmm.
list. And so I just get a physical calendar, like a physical one that I can't avoid. I make a
Yes.
power list. It's usually 4 to 6 things. And I usually do a couple that are on the professional, a couple that are on the personal. And then if I do all of those things in the day, I get a W. If I don't do even one of them, I take an L. So that's going to teach myself to hold myself accountable. What it also does is I'm giving my brain the proof because your brain wants proof. If I'm lacking confidence, it's because I don't have the proof. And so I'm giving my brain the physical proof that I'm making progress towards my goals.
Yeah.
Now, the tricky part with the list is if it's too hard and I'm taking a bunch of L's, that's not good. I should make it a little bit easier. If it's too easy and I never take an L, now you're just lying to yourself. You should take some L's. And then the list is going to
Hmm.
be ever evolving because you have this big list of habits. And so it's like when one gets really easy, you should replace it. So like if I go 2 weeks without taking an L, the list is too easy. I should replace one of those habits because the other like that one's already built in. I'm going to keep doing it, but I don't have to think about it so much. It's not challenging me.
Yeah.
And so now what I've done is I have this plan that I'm following where I'm chasing the goal, but I'm also becoming the person that attracts it. And
Hmm.
so what am I doing? It's a concept that you probably all are familiar with. I'm attacking my goal from both sides.
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
man, that was such a big help. Really appreciate that. I'm gonna implement that here as well, and um,
let's go.
we'll do it from there. Thank you, man, for all.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Of course. Is it Kundan? Kundan? I don't know how the hell to say it.
Yeah, hello, bro.
What's up?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
I'm great. What's your question?
Uh, Actually, I am pretty new in sales and I want to select an offer and work for that for the scripting, role plays, and everything. So I just want suggestion from you, like which path, which offer should I take on?
I have no idea. I, it's going to be, you have to start applying and see what your options are first. Um, in my experience, what I have found is that there's money all over this industry.
Yes.
And the way I started making those decisions is based off of the people I'm around rather than the money, because the money is everywhere. And so I've gotten caught up in the money and ended up in situations that I didn't really like. And so now I'm not saying the money doesn't matter, but I'm usually looking at the people that are involved in the business, like who's going to be my manager, who's the owner, am I in alignment with them? And if I'm in alignment, then I usually do really, really well. If I'm out of alignment, then it usually only takes a couple of months before I'm like, I fucking hate this. So I don't know
Okay.
if that helps, brother.
Yeah, and one last question. I'm trying to do role play with AI, and I don't know, like, where should I do practice with friends or something like that. So,
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never role played a ton with AI, so I would not be the one to ask about that. I think it looks pretty cool. I just haven't delved into it too much yet.
okay, okay. So, do you have any suggestion with the like whom I can role play, or I think they have like
My
WhatsApp channel
suggestion
for
for
that.
you, and I'm just going to be very,
Mhm.
very direct with you, is that if you're going to sell in the Western part of the hemisphere, like if you're going to sell to people in the States, I would recommend working on your accent first.
Okay,
Like take lessons to lessen your accent, because if you're selling to people in the States and they hear an accent, they automatically are thinking doctor or scammer.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Yes, yes,
your
I can.
your
I
sales
totally understand.
process is going to have to be different. It's going to have to sound more like a doctor. But the more you can work on your accent, the easier it's going to become. And so instead of focusing on those things, that's what I would focus on.
Okay,
You racist
thank you.
ocean.
No, 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 no. I can totally understand that. I am going to English class and practicing those accents.
Yeah, that's perfect, brother. I would really dive into that. Um, and to be clear, like I've worked with a lot of people with accents. That's the biggest thing that I've seen help them is working on that, because the advantage that you have is that in different cultures, it's more appropriate to be direct. And so like people that are from the US usually pussyfoot around stuff. They're not as direct. And then teaching directness is difficult. For you, that's probably not going to be as difficult. So if you can lessen the accent, but you're still direct, it's a great combination.
Hmm. Got it, bro. I'll work on that.
Let's go. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.